Good morning. Welcome to 4 by 8 Paper Stuff. It's me. I'm back. We're in the River Journal. Let's get going. Happy Valentine's Day. Holy moly. It's been quite an adventure around here. Good morning. This is about Lewis and Clark. And they were commissioned by Thomas Jefferson, who was the president, to find a shorter route from the Missouri River, which is where we just were, to the Pacific Ocean. Now, I don't believe this section of the Missouri River where I was where they started, but it's still included in the Louisiana Territory. And we're going to make a shape of the Louisiana Territory on a map. So it's been a wild couple days. I'm going to do a little bit of a talking, and then I'm going to have to do a voiceover because I'm rusty. I don't know if I remember how to even do all this stuff. I'm brain dead, physically tired, and mentally tired. But it's been a roller coaster here. I only have a few followers, but in case somebody watches this in the future and, whatever happens then. I did not mean to take a break. I left for Missouri with my parents. Well, on the road getting there, I found out my mom was pretty darn sick. And if you don't know, there's a terrible flu in the United States. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Before I left, 80 people in South Carolina had died, which is where I am. And by the time I got home, 130 had died, which was a week. So, 50 more people had died, including a child here. Just here. It's horrible everywhere. And it's very contagious and blah, 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 blah. So my mom went to the doctor. My sister finally convinced her, and they were told she had an upper respiratory infection. She did not have the flu. She sounds terrible. She sounded really bad last week. And I was in Missouri on standby to come home early. Then we found out my dad had gotten sick, and he was starting off with the very same symptoms she did. My sister was monitoring them. And he is teeny tiny, skinny, frail at best. And we were really worried about him. My mom is a little bit stronger physically, but my dad is not. So we were very worried, and long story short, I had a great time quilting, and I had some weather scares, but I worked around all of it. The weather, Saturday, I was supposed to come home, start heading home, and the weather was turning south again. It's probably like Saturday night is what the news people said. Well, Friday, this past Friday, the 9th. We woke up in Missouri, and the weather had already gotten way worse, and it was rapidly moving in, and I literally threw the things that I had not packed the night before into my car and headed out. Thus, the reason why I think I left my camera in Missouri. But I got a new one, just today. And so, on the road, I find out that my dad is just continuously getting worse. I made it to Jonesboro, Arkansas, which was about 12 hours because I had to go through some tiny towns again on a tiny highway because trying to avoid snow as fast as possible and getting out of there. If I had gone either east or west, I would have run into snow, so I went straight south, which were tiny highways, which took a little bit longer, but I got out of the danger area of weather faster. So, I ended up in Jonesboro, Arkansas the first night, and got up the next morning and left there, which there was no weather problems once I got probably 3 hours south of where I was, which was upper Missouri. And I got up early for Saturday morning and headed out early, trying to make it home in 2 days rather than the 3.5 to 4 days that it's taken me each direction before. So that's the Louisiana Purchase shape. And let's see, this is Louisiana, this part down here. Is that right? Yes. So it's kind of, this is south, that's west, that's north. So anyhow, my dad was admitted in, my sister took him to the emergency room, and because of how bad the flu is here, it took hours and hours. They finally admitted him. They admitted him in the morning with the flu, but his breathing was atrocious, and he could not catch his breath, and lots of other things. And so they admitted him, but they did not have a bed in this hospital, so we had to wait and wait. My sister had to wait and wait and wait, and they finally got him one, and he went into it right before I got home. I got home, it was about 13 hours I drove to get for the second day of driving. I drove straight from Arkansas to here, and it was 13 hours. There was tons of rain, and I got slowed down about half the trip. Was bad rain. There were bad accidents in Atlanta, and but anyhow, he is still in the hospital, will be for a few more days. This is Tuesday, so he's been in the hospital Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. If he's out before Thursday, I'll be surprised. He is doing much better. They're putting steroids and antibiotics and medicine in a breathing thing for him, and he's on oxygen. And we're having kidney issues and breathing issues that have been happening for a while that me and my sisters and I did not know about. The flu is their least worry. And the flu is bad. But anyhow, and you cannot even go in the hospital without a mask on. I mean, it's just horrible. Okay, so Louisiana Purchase. I'm going to fast forward the rest of this. No, Lewis and Clark. And come back at the end. But I wanted to have the shape of the Louisiana Purchase in here somehow. And Lewis and Clark, and a little bit of blurb about Lewis and Clark, but now I'm going to put it in a different format. So I had a great trip. Lots of quilting. I want to get back into this. I probably will have a little bit more tomorrow about some of the quilting stuff on my video. 5 ladies were there from last year. So it was kind of fun. There was 5 of us that repeated. We call ourselves the repeaters. We had to repeat the class. We had a great time. It was fabulous. Cold. Oh my gosh, cold. Okay, I'm going to fast forward. So what am I doing? I am putting down the wording that I got off of my favorite source, Wikipedia, which I know is not always correct, but it is for the little bit of documentation that I do. I wouldn't write a thesis or a term paper, but for journaling, it's fine. And what does it say? It says, in 1803, Jefferson commissioned the Corps of Discovery, which was a group of men, and named U.S. Army Captain Meriwether Lewis its leader, who in turn selected William Clark as second in command. And these were the 2 guys that were going from the Missouri River in St. Louis to the Pacific Ocean. And Jefferson, this is a quote from Thomas Jefferson, who was the president at the time, commissioned them, and the object of their commission was to explore the Missouri River, and now this is in old time language, such principal stream of it, in other words, as tributaries, as by its course and its communication, its route, I guess, with the waters of the Pacific Ocean, trying to connect the Missouri River to the Pacific Ocean. Whether it's through the Columbia area, the Oregon area, the Colorado area, or many other rivers that may offer the most direct and practical water communication across the continent for the purpose of commerce. Basically, it was follow the money, follow the river, follow the money.
but it's very interesting. And I was in that area, and I was very nostalgic because I knew I wanted to do a Lewis and Clark page, and uh, it was it was neat to be where they were. Um, do I think I am Lewis and Clark? No, but I might be Lulu Clark. Who knows? Lulu in the head. But I'm glad to be journaling. It's taken me a while to get into the rhythm this afternoon, this morning. Um, but I've missed it. I do know that. Every time I think, I don't have any viewers, why am I doing this? Just quit. I think, no, I enjoy doing this. Um, I I really really enjoy the process of doing this every single day, and filming it keeps me accountable and keeps me out of trouble. So, you're stuck with me. Um, and I'm using brown and green just because it's nature colors. I don't know. They're kind of like my go-to colors if I'm not splash out painting. But I wanted to make the shape of the Louisiana Purchase because that's how we got the Missouri River. Um, and I think I succeeded. I used one of the maps that I got in one of the very few rest areas I went to. I didn't stick to major interstates, so I didn't have nice rest areas to obtain slash walk off with. They're free maps from the rest area. So the few that um, I got some going in and some going out. So I have a few, but I have other sources of maps. I just love maps. I'm Madam Map, right? Right. So, Madam Map is making a map of the Louisiana Purchase using a map that she got on her trip that she went on crossing the Missouri River. Blah, 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 blah. So, it was awesome. And I'm trying to I'm doing a tip in, and I don't know what I'm going to do beyond this. And I'm thinking, and I have to think some more. And I like Sacagawea on there because she did help them through the Indian territories, and she helped people in the Snake River too. So um, I really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed the process today, and I'm glad I'm back. So I have area to fill in, and I don't know what I'm going to do, but I found these trees, and I think I'm going to plant them.
I'm back. Hopefully, I've done a little bit of talking and fast forward. But you know how I sit here and do this when I'm thinking? Guess what I just called that move, that dance move? It's called journal surfing. Because it looks like I'm surfing on a surfboard. I don't know. Punch drunk. I was punch drunk before I left, and I'm still punch drunk. I'm really not. I'm kind of brain dead, and my sisters and I are in a little bit of a flux. Don't think my mom watches these videos, or at least she isn't right now. The doctor really took us by surprise yesterday with stage 4 kidney issues. And I'm not going to say anything private, and it is private, and it's my mom and dad's world and all of that. And he doesn't have cancer or anything like that. His kidneys are just worn out from medicine, he is a diabetic for about the last 10 years, I guess. And that kind of wears on your kidneys, and it just kind of took us for a loop. And then we got 2 days before that, we got COPD, which doesn't surprise any of us, and really should have probably been. Anyhow, okay, so I am kind of out there, and I'm cheating. I glued all these down on this side. It says, hopefully I've already read it too. I'm not going to read it again. But let's see. And these are, you just saw me after I did a little bit of journal surfing. I found these trees that I painted a long time ago. So I'm just going to put them in here because they're the right colors, and I'm sure they saw all of these trees on their exploration and journey. And I thought about them a lot actually, on my trip. I don't think they were where I was. But, well, it said they departed from St. Louis, so yeah, they were, actually. I saw, you know, vistas and things like that in farm areas, and thinking, gosh, you know, did Lewis and Clark see these same trees? I don't think so. These are probably not this old, and, you know, just that kind of stuff. And just thinking, gosh, if I was exploring it, would I see this same vista? And, you know, kind of nerdy, but retrospective, thinking about things like that. And enjoying my journey. Glad I wasn't in a covered wagon or on the back of a horse, because it was blasted cold. Until I really had to, you know, quit being wishy-washy and get on the stick and get home. Just because life happens that way sometimes, and it is what it is. And I'm like, okay, no more Lewis and Clark. You're going to go the way of Tesla, and you got to go faster. Get to the moon. If you're not a United States citizen, you may not know that a guy here that invents electronic cars sent one to the moon, or to space. I think it's still out there. So I had to get a little bit faster on my journey. So I went from covered wagons to spaceships. I did see going over an overpass, because I kind of saw, and I know this is a very rural area in Missouri where I was, and kind of impoverished in places because of the plight of the farmer these days. But I saw some farms and I'm like, oh man, that one's deserted. And then I thought, wait a second. Just because they don't have cars doesn't mean the farm is deserted. It was Amish people, which there are a lot in Missouri. They were in the little town where I was. And we even saw one bring his horse in, which I did the year before. And I'm not sure if I did the first year or not. But anyhow, I was going under an overpass, and a Amish buggy and horse were riding by. What do horses do, ride? So it was really cool to think of these guys, to think of my journey, albeit for fun, and the journey that this town went through with this quilt industry, which is really kind of cool too. My little thing got ripped here. I did not finish this quilt. I got to this point. All this is done. The second part of this chevron is not done. But I did do a couple other ones. I need to put tape over this so it doesn't get ruined. So it was fun. A lot of fun. And I'm glad to be back, and I'm trying to get back into a routine, but it's going to take a little bit. And I want to put some blue or some marks around here, and I need to put something there, but I don't know what I want to put. So we did oh, that's what I was doing. The Little House on the Prairie. Where's my list? So I'm a couple days behind. Here we go. All right. All right, so I did Little House on the Prairie. We just did Lewis and Clark. I have 2 more days left in the Missouri River. So we have, let's see. Okay. And there's a story about these. Okay, so the Missouri River. South Carolina is over here, and I was way up Chillicothe. I was right here. Little tiny dot right there. This is Kansas City. This is St. Louis. This is where Lewis and Clark left from and went west to the Pacific Ocean. And we have the facts about the Missouri River. We have farm silos and pictures that I took. We have the big cities in Missouri along the Missouri River. We have Little House on the Prairie. And we have Lewis and Clark. Not very pretty, but I got to get back into it. And I might add more to it. So, thanks for watching. Enjoy my new camera. It may not click, at least not yet. Gertie, these are my paperweights. You haven't seen these before? I bought these years ago and painted them black. Yes, I bought rocks. But they were for Halloween. And I wrote like boo and things like that on them. And then I've used them for different things. And then one day we used them on Father's Day, and we wrote dad and hearts and things like that and put them on the table. And then Bella has used them this year around her Valentine's Day tree. And I could see an XO on this one. She must have written that while I was gone. But they're great paperweights. So, you will be seeing this Wednesday. I'll be at the hospital. And life resumes. Have a good day, everybody.
Thanks for watching. You can follow me on Instagram. Happy Valentine's Day again, everybody, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.